9, problem 16. And the first thing we want to do, this is the second part of the video. The first part of the video is the one where I do calculations by hand, or where I set up the calculations by hand, which is always important to do before you get to MATLAB. Well, now that we know that we need MATLAB because we need to solve a system with 4 equations and 4 unknowns, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first step is always put comments, and we'll say clear all previous variables. And how do you do that? You write clear all. Now that's important because you might get the wrong answer if you're using a variable that you don't intend to use in that sense. Then you want to define the variable for this specific problem. So defining my variables is going to be the next step. And to define them, I'm going to write sims, and I'm just going to write them as they appear in the problem. So C1, C2, C3, and C4. Then I would like to write the system as a matrix, right? So I would like to write the coefficient matrix, defining the coefficient matrix that I showed in the earlier video. So how do you write a matrix? First, you assign it a letter, and then you use the equal sign to assign it some value and the square brackets for the matrix. And you'll notice that the first row had a 1, a negative, a 0 for C2, and then it had a negative 1 for C3 and a 2 for C4. And then we want to write the augmented matrix, so we write what that equal to on the other side of the equal sign. That was 17. That's our first row of the augmented matrix. We put a semicolon to go to the second row. Now in the second row, the first variable does not appear. C1 does not appear, which means that it has a coefficient of 0. The second variable has a coefficient of 3. The third variable has a coefficient of -2, and the fourth variable has a coefficient of -3. And all of that is equal to 58. That's our second row. Now we do our third row, which is 2, because there's a coefficient of 2 in front of C1, 3, coefficient of 3 in front of C2, 0, C3 does not appear, 4, coefficient of 4 in front of C4, and all of that is equal to -1. Finally, we have the last row, so we put a semicolon again, and we have C1 with a coefficient of 6, C2 with a coefficient of 3, C3 with a coefficient of 5, and C4 does not appear, so we'll put a 0 in there. Okay, and all of that is equal to -5. So you write it like this, and this is the augmented matrix. Then you always want to check 1, 0, -1, 2, -17. Okay, the first row is good. Let me look at the second row. It's got a 3, a -2. Well, there's a 0 in front of C1, a 3, a -2, and a -3. And the result is 58. Okay, second row is good. Let's look at the third row. 2, 3, 0, 4. 2, 3, 0, 4. That's good. It should equal -1, which it does. And then C 6, 3, 5, 0, -5. 6, 3, 5, 0, -5. Good. Now I put a semicolon because I don't want it to output when I execute. And now I want to solve with RRF. And what RRF stands for is reduced row echelon form. So using the method of reduced row echelon form with augmented matrix to find C1, C2, C3, C4. Now we press enter, command enter, or you could alternatively press play here, and you get the following result. So you see how first you want to look at this. Okay, this is the identity matrix. It looks like it was able to determine each one. There's no row that is fully zero, or there's no other form than reduced row echelon form, which means each solution is just one solution. And here they are. This corresponds to whatever the first row corresponded to, which is C1, if you think about how I wrote it, and then C2, C3, C4. All right. And then if you would like these as fractions, you could write this as format rat, sorry. And if you do that, you should get the answer in, nope. So we can do answer, well, we can do A format rat. No, because A is this one right here. So let's do format rat, and let's see if I put it in on top of this. There you go. Now you get the values in fractions if you like them better. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you at the next one.